All right, they were down 0-2. They were on the road, down 20 points. Their star was in foul trouble, Jalen Brunson. It was one of those, what kind of man are you games? And Karl-Anthony Towns, two things happened. Number one, Karl-Anthony Towns said, I'll show you what kind of man I am. I'm going to single-handedly take over the fourth quarter. Listen, the dude, he has quarters like this. He averages 23 a game in his career. When he was in his prime, Karl-Anthony Towns always ended up near the top of those GM surveys they do. Who would you start a franchise with? He doesn't play any defense. He's a little quirky, but he can dominate games. I've been to 3 or 4 games where he was playing, and he was the best player on the floor at some point in all those games. So, and the second thing that happened, and this does not happen very often for the Pacers, they lost their way offensively. So Halliburton, end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth. So end of third, beginning of the fourth, about 4.5 minutes, he was on the bench. In that time, a 15-point lead evaporated to 4. And then he comes back in, and they just never quite felt the same. Again, Indiana, it's hard to get them off their offensive game, but even when the Knicks were down 4, 3, 2 points, it felt like they were in control. So the Pacers are a rhythm team, and that they have the fastest pace in the league. And they got out of their rhythm. And all of a sudden you had Nesmith and other guys, McConnell, trying to run the offense. It's like, bro, that's not it. This is Halliburton's offense. They lost their quarterback. They only shot 36% in the second half at home and shot 42%. That's the worst half of basketball for the Pacers. And just to give you, in the playoffs, to give you another example, it flashed on the screen. At one point in the first half, they had 14 fast break points. They were running the Knicks out of the arena. In the second half, total 2 fast break points. Halliburton sits, they lose their rhythm. He comes back in, tries to kickstart it, and he never could. And what did we talk about last week? Whoever controls the tempo is going to win the games and or the series. And the Knicks compressed it, slowed it down. And also, and this matters, the Knicks hit their last 15 free throws. I know that's not a glamorous headline, but remember, game 1, the Knicks had control, and they were missing free throws. Open the door. This was the opposite. They were controlling tempo. In game 1, they lost tempo, missed free throws. Here late, they controlled tempo, hit free throws, and so they were a better road team than they were a home team. The road team has won every game in this series, so the Knicks slowed it down, hit the freebies, and I thought their defensive rotations were much better, especially when you had, once Halliburton sat down for that stretch. And you see this in football all the time. You have momentum, you have a bad series, you have a fumble, there's a turnover, and you can never find the momentum again. It's hard. Momentum matters, and it especially matters in playoff games. So we have ourselves a series. The Knicks blew game 1. It kind of felt like they stole game 3. Indiana felt like the better team in game 2. We've got a series, and here's Tibbs.
In playoff basketball, I know you guys like roll your eyes when I say no lead is safe, but no lead is safe because I think with the three-point shot, people make up ground quickly, pace of the game, make up ground quickly. You see comebacks all the time, and if you let up just a little bit, that's what happens.
So you just do not see the Pacers very often lose their way offensively. But that 4 and 5 minute stretch where Halliburton left and you just saw the lead shrink, he came back in. He sort of righted the ship. He hit a 3. It felt a little better. But by that point, the Knicks had growing confidence. And it should also be noted, Cat did a lot of his damage with Jalen Brunson on the bench. So now I think the Pacers are a better team. I think they get more consistently easier looks on offense. And I think they're going to win the series. But the most interesting part in this series for the Knicks is that it's not complicated to see what they are and what they're not. It's right at, they're not pretty. They don't shoot the 3 particularly well. and that Brunson and Cat often flourish when the other's off the floor. Your turn. No, it's your turn. No, it's a your turn, my turn offense too often. And they're both poor defenders. So well-coached offensive teams pick on them. So I would move off a talented, erratic Cat, although I think he's talented, because I don't think Brunson and Cat on the floor, people just go after him. And bad defenders. And I think it also, we know what they're not. We know what they need. They need KD, who is a catch-and-shoot player, which is very valuable because you're going to get Cat's points. You're going to get 23 to 25 a game, better defender, and he can play complementary basketball with Jalen Brunson. Cat really doesn't. It's not like Cat's a bad guy, but if you have him on the floor and Brunson's not big, he's not long, he's not a great defender, liability. So Brunson leaves and Cat's like, okay, now it's my turn. And not surprisingly, he's great because he's a gifted offensive player. Again, he averages 23 in his career. But KD is great without the ball in his hands. KD is a plug-and-play, catch-and-shoot player. He is better defensively than Karl-Anthony Towns. And, think about this. When Karl-Anthony Towns was in Minnesota before Ant arrived, he was a number one scoring option. So Karl-Anthony Towns has a market. He's going to average 22 points a game for somebody. But I do think the Knicks, what you're seeing in this series, it's a pretty simple. You could be a basketball casual. They can't shoot the three consistently. KD. They need a star who doesn't need the ball in his hands a lot. KD. They need length. If they keep Mitchell Robinson and move off Cat, they need length. KD. They need a willing defender. KD. They need a high basketball IQ because Brunson, Mikal Bridges, this is a smart basketball team and a pretty relentless coach. KD. It all fits. And I listen, I go back when they were beating Boston and I'm like, I don't know if they need KD. But playoffs are layers. They're steps. Against Detroit, you're like, wow, why are the Knicks struggling with Detroit? Because Detroit muddies it up and they had a hard time getting consistent baskets. And then you play Boston and your defense befuddles them and Brunson is great. And so you forget about that. But then they play Indiana and you're watching and you're going, yeah, they kind of need another shooter. And all these teams now with the multiple aprons, they're all going to be moving pieces. It is harder to move big pieces, but Cat's going to market. I don't think he and Brunson in playoff basketball works. And if you're asking me everything they need, catch and shoot, plug and play, high IQ, hit a three-pointer. If Cat leaves, they need length and a willing defender. Every box is checked with KD. And let's be honest about Cat. The dude has value. You can't tell me he doesn't. He is you saw yesterday, he is at times, an unstoppable offensive player who attacks downhill. And here's Cat after.
So opportunity to utilize all those hours I put into the gym. And game wasn't looking great for me as well, but for all of us. And I just wanted to do whatever it takes to help put us in a position to win.
Yeah, it's not a criticism. The guy's got a market. This is pro sports. Michael Jordan finished with the Wizards. It's never pretty in the end. But Cat's not in his prime, but he has quarters like last night, and they're fairly regular. And by the way, I was thinking about this. If Jason Tatum is out for the Celtics next year, and we don't even know what Cleveland is right now, right? Like, we're not sure what Cleveland is. We know Indiana's going to be good, but they're going to have a Miles Turner dilemma. They're not going to be able to keep him because they're going to keep Pascal Siakam. You have to. You're going to keep Halliburton. You've got a bunch of other rotational guys you like. They're going to probably lose Miles Turner, so they're going to lose some of their length. And Miles Turner matters for big teams. If Giannis stays in Milwaukee, it matters. So there's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of little pieces moving in New York. And I think this series has really, you can be a basketball casual. You know what they need. And I think KD checks all of those boxes.